Most people think wealthy families stay wealthy because they have more money, more capital, better investments, smarter advisors. That belief is comforting and completely wrong. Money alone has never kept a family wealthy for generations. In fact, money is usually the first thing to disappear when discipline is lost. What actually keeps wealth alive is something far less visible and far more protected. Wealthy families understand that cash is only one layer of wealth, and not even the most important one. They protect five assets more fiercely than money itself. These assets don't show up on balance sheets. You can't withdraw them from a bank. But once they are damaged, no amount of cash can fully replace them. This is why reputation outlives money, and why families who lose fortunes can recover, while others never do. Let's talk about the five assets wealthy families protect more than cash. The first asset, reputation. Reputation is the cornerstone of all long-term wealth. Money is situational. Reputation is remembered. Markets change. Businesses fail. Economies collapse. But a strong reputation continues to open doors even when money is gone. Wealthy families understand that trust is more valuable than capital because capital follows trust, never the other way around. When a wealthy family approaches a bank, an investor, or a partner, they are not judged solely on numbers. They are judged on history, on patterns, on how they behaved when things were difficult. Two people can have identical financial statements and receive completely different treatment. One is given patience and flexibility. The other is given pressure and scrutiny. The difference is reputation. Wealthy families guard their name carefully. They avoid shortcuts that create long-term damage for short-term gain. They understand that fast money earned through questionable behavior always leaves a stain. That stain may not matter today, but it will matter when trust is required. Reputation compounds quietly. Every promise kept strengthens it. Every ethical decision under pressure reinforces it. Over time, the family name becomes predictable, and predictability creates power. This is why reputation outlives money. Money can be rebuilt. Trust is much harder to restore. The second asset, relationships. Wealth does not move through systems. It moves through people. Wealthy families protect relationships as strategic assets, not emotional conveniences. They understand that who you know matters less than how you are known, but relationships are the channels through which reputation travels. Strong relationships provide access to opportunities, access to information, access to support during crises. When money tightens, relationships decide who gets help and who gets ignored. This is why wealthy families invest in long-term relationships rather than transactional ones. They avoid burning bridges, even when they are legally or financially justified in doing so. Winning a battle at the cost of a relationship is considered a loss. They also understand that relationships require maintenance. Silence, respect, consistency, and reliability build trust over time. Drama, arrogance, and short-term thinking destroy it. Wealthy families are careful about who they associate with. Reputation is contagious. Being connected to reckless behavior, unethical practices, or unstable individuals creates reputational risk regardless of financial gain. They choose alignment over opportunity because a single bad association can undo decades of trust. The third asset, credibility. Credibility is the ability to be believed without proof. It is built through consistency, not talk. Wealthy families protect credibility because it reduces friction in every interaction. When credibility is strong, negotiations move faster. Decisions require fewer guarantees. Mistakes are forgiven more easily. Credibility means when a family says they will do something, people assume it will be done, not because of contracts, but because of history. This asset is especially powerful during uncertainty. When markets are unstable, credibility becomes more valuable than cash. People look for signals of reliability. They look for partners who will not disappear under pressure. Wealthy families understand that credibility is destroyed faster than it is built. One reckless promise, one public contradiction, one visible inconsistency can damage it. That's why they speak carefully. They underpromise and overdeliver. They avoid exaggeration. They do not chase attention with bold claims they cannot sustain. Credibility creates leverage money cannot buy. The fourth asset, discretion. Discretion is the ability to remain quiet when noise is tempting. In a world that rewards visibility, wealthy families value restraint. They protect privacy, they limit public exposure, they avoid broadcasting success, conflict, or internal decisions. Discretion protects reputation. It prevents unnecessary scrutiny. It reduces jealousy, resentment, and external pressure. It also limits how much information others can use against them. Wealthy families understand that being right publicly is often less valuable than being stable privately. They resolve disputes quietly. They avoid public arguments. They do not explain themselves to people who do not matter. This is why old wealth often appears invisible, not because it lacks influence, but because it does not need validation. Discretion also protects the next generation. Children raised in public attention develop entitlement, insecurity, or recklessness. Wealthy families limit exposure to preserve humility and discipline. Noise attracts attention. Attention attracts risk. Discretion reduces both. The fifth asset, internal discipline. This is the asset that holds everything together. Internal discipline is the ability to say no to yourself and to others, even when saying yes would feel good. Wealthy families protect discipline because money magnifies weakness. Without discipline, wealth accelerates decline instead of stability. Discipline governs spending. Discipline governs behavior. Discipline governs decisions under pressure. This is why wealthy families maintain strict boundaries between capital and lifestyle. They enjoy income but protect principle. They live well, but never at the cost of the system that supports them. Discipline also governs emotion. Wealthy families train themselves to respond rather than react. Emotional decisions are expensive. Ego-driven choices create long-term damage. This discipline is taught early. Children are not shielded from responsibility. They are taught that their actions reflect more than themselves. They learn that privilege comes with accountability. Without discipline, reputation collapses. Relationships weaken, credibility erodes, discretion disappears, and money follows them all into decline. Why reputation outlives money? Now the pattern becomes clear. Reputation sits at the center of these five assets. Relationships amplify it, credibility reinforces it, discretion protects it, discipline sustains it. Money depends on all five. This is why reputation outlives money, because it is supported by systems of behavior, not just resources. When money is lost, these assets remain, and they allow recovery. History is full of families who lost fortunes and rebuilt because their reputation, relationships, and credibility stayed intact. The opposite is rarely true. Families with money but damaged reputations struggle to regain trust even with resources. Money can buy access. Reputation creates acceptance. Money opens doors temporarily. Reputation keeps them open. This is why wealthy families monitor their behavior as carefully as their balance sheets. Every decision is evaluated not just for profit, but for long-term impact on these five assets. They do not ask, how much will this make us? They ask, what does this cost us later? How this applies to you. You do not need to be wealthy to protect these assets. In fact, protecting them early is how wealth eventually forms. Every promise you keep builds credibility. Every relationship you preserve strengthens your network. Every moment of restraint reinforces discipline. Every quiet decision protects discretion. Every ethical choice compounds reputation. Most people track money. Wealthy families track behavior. Because behavior creates outcomes long before money arrives. If you treat reputation like an asset, you will stop trading it for convenience. You will stop chasing short-term wins that create long-term damage. You will begin to think in decades instead of days. And when money eventually comes, as it does for those who build trust consistently, it will stay longer. Final truth. Cash is fragile. Markets are unpredictable. Fortunes rise and fall. But reputation, supported by relationships, credibility, discretion, and discipline, survives chaos. This is why wealthy families protect these five assets more than cash. Because when money disappears, and one day it will, these assets determine whether it returns. This is untold truth of money. Wealth isn't just what you accumulate, it's what you're trusted with.